Othello Syndrome, a recognized psychiatric condition acquitting men of murder. Characterized by delusional, pathological jealousy, the disease was discovered in the 1950s and appropriately named after the famous Shakespearean tragedy. The story follows Othello and his morbid sense of jealousy that drives him to kill his beloved wife. However, envy-fueled homicide is a narrative not limited to fiction. These types of crimes exist in Australia today. The question is, why are they protected by our legal system? Mr. Ian Dobinson, Senior Lecturer of Criminal Law at the University of Technology, says people suffering from this condition are protected under the mental illness defence, a complete defence where no jail time is served.
Now, they must put evidence before the court which says on the balance of probabilities that they were suffering from a disease of the mind or an insane delusion which led them not to know the nature and quality of what they were doing, so they didn't know what they were doing at all, or if they did know that they didn't know it was wrong.
Since 2004, there have been 5 accounts of perpetrators escaping their murder charges due to insanity by Othello Syndrome. The most notorious occurring last year, the Margaret Tannous case, who was beat to death by her husband with a plank of wood. Guilty in the eyes of the public, but innocent before the law, George Tannous walked away without a criminal conviction. Since being brought to the public's attention last month, the case has prompted a wave of civil outcry, many people demanding a review into the defence. Frank Giordano, former Detective Inspector for the New South Wales Police, calls the defence worrying and confusing, and agrees that a review should be conducted.
Very difficult for members of the jury to distinguish what it actually means when basically you're saying to them this person is not guilty of the crime that's been committed because he was jealous of his wife or his partner or some other individuals which resulted in the death of that person.
The validity of the mental illness has also come into question over the past month. Many psychologists noting that the symptoms bear close similarities to the methods of abuse seen in domestic violence cases. Instead of incarceration, the accused are placed in medical institutions. Here, there is no criminal conviction and no mandatory sentence.
The new laws, relatively new laws, require the Mental Health Tribunal and those involved in this to regularly review the patient, because they are referred to as a patient in these circumstances, and in that regard, when the person is deemed to be in effect cured, then in those circumstances they can be released.
With more cases of domestic violence happening now than ever before, it is important to constantly review the way our legal system balances the rights of individuals. This has been Annabelle Kamer for Tented Virtue.